Let's talk about what is chemistry. Again, you are taking notes in the slide 2 of your chemistry notebook, Google slide. All right, what is chemistry? Well, chemistry is my favorite subject because it literally includes everything. So, it is the ingredients that make up the universe. So, it's kind of like if you were cooking, um, you have ingredients when you're cooking, but you can't just put the ingredients together, right? You have to put them together in a certain order and stir them a certain way to make them actually make the end product. Same thing in chemistry. So physics is like the rules of the universe and like how things interact and come together. So if one object collides with another object, is it going to push it, right? Is there going to be a spring? That's physics. So that's kind of like the rules for how things interact. Chemistry is all of the pieces that come together to make up things. So I have some images here to represent what chemistry is. So the first thing I'll point out here is, actually, let's look at this picture here. Chemistry. So I'm going to move my little face here. I put this image of chemistry with all the beakers and the solutions and a little flame and glassware because this is what people think of when they think of chemistry, right? They think of scientists pouring solutions into bottles. That is part of chemistry. That is how we study lots of things about chemistry, but that's not what chemistry actually is. Chemistry, if we want to know what it actually is, more closely related to I would say it is more closely related to pictures of this boba down here. So if we wanted to create like the perfect boba and do some like food science, we would understand what is it made of, what gives it that chewy texture, um, what are variables that might affect it, like temperature or time, mixing and creating long strands of chewy compounds that give it that texture. We might talk about the universe and the galaxies. So I have this image here of all these different galaxies. So while we've never been there, like human beings have never been out to these galaxies, we can study them using lots of techniques that involve chemistry and understand what they're made up of and how they behave based on the elements that they're made up of. Now, where do those elements come from? What are those elements? Well, now we can look at the periodic table of elements. And so this is one of the things we'll definitely study this year and understand. There's about 118 or more elements that make up the entire universe. So first, the smallest one is hydrogen up here. It's very flammable. And then down here we have one that I can't even see on this little screen, but we'll never talk about because it's very, very rare. And a lot of these down here are man-made. Okay. But to think of everything in the universe being made up of only about 100 little tiny types of atoms, that's pretty incredible. I put a picture here of people cleaning up an oil spill because scientists and chemists have to come up with solutions to things like this. How do we break down oil once it pollutes our environment? What's going on? So there's a lot of chemistry going on in pollution and environmental science, environmental justice, and policy and things like that. On the next page, I put some tech images, right? So if we're making microchips or even our cell phones, what are the new elements that make up these cell phones? To how do electrons run through wires? So that is chemistry too. Batteries are made up of chemicals. Food is chemicals. Nutrition is chemistry. How do different compounds, vitamins, amino acids, proteins work in our body? Understanding the relationships and how they interact and behave in our body is chemistry. How the autumn leaves change colors. So you'll notice here in this poster here, you see these different chemical compounds and how they change slightly. And each time they change slightly, we see them as a different color. So that's pretty cool. And then anything having to do with medicine, from prescription drugs to medicinal plants, extracting even essential oils, all of that is chemistry as well. So if you're interested in nutrition, medicine, technology, basically